Kids born to teen moms. How different is your life compared to other kids? When friends would come over for the first time growing up, I'd get a lot of, "I didn't know you had an older sister." "I don't. That's my mother." Also, since my mom and I are only 16 years apart, we ended up liking a lot of the same music, which made going to concerts a lot easier, because we'd often want to go to the same shows. So, I've definitely seen a lot more bands than friends. My mother resented me and the freedom I had as a teen and young adult. I got to do and experience so many things she didn't get to by choice. On her side, I come from a long line of teen moms, but I didn't make that mistake. I was 27 when my daughter was born, and my daughter is almost 22 and no kids yet, so the cycle is broken on our branch at least. My mom and I are really close. She had me at 14. Growing up, I noticed a lot of my friends didn't get along with their moms. I always thought she was really relatable. We go eat, go shopping, get coffee, gossip, just hang out. She worked a lot, sometimes multiple jobs at once. So I felt like I did less extracurricular than my friends. But I was pretty happy growing up. She is always concerned with money. I'm starting to notice that she's not very good at saving money or planning retirement and whatnot. I once asked a family friend, now that us kids are grown, "How are my parents still living paycheck to paycheck?" She explained that, in her opinion, my mom basically skipped learning how to take care of herself as an adult. Instead of learning how to effectively adult, she focused on taking care of her kids. I will forever be grateful for my mom and the hard work and sacrifices she endured to raise me and my siblings. Parents still trying to grow up and learn life lessons 10 years later because they never really had the chance to while raising you. It's kinda cool though, cause then if you're aware enough you also pick up on it. Mom was 15 when she had me. Honestly, my life sucked. She used to say that she could have given me up for adoption and then decided not to because she realized that I would love her unconditionally no matter what. Our relationship progressed pretty negatively because of that mindset of hers. Every negative thing I did was against what she thought motherhood would be like. I was something she could pick up and put down and leave behind at her leisure. There were a number of times she dropped me off at a family member's house and disappear. Once, I came home from kindergarten and no one was there, Dad was in prison. The next morning, my uncle showed up. He had heard my mom left and had a gut feeling he needed to go to my house. There was no food and the heat had been turned off by the utility company. I don't remember much about that time other than the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and the Demolition Man movie. She had pretty bad trauma and never processed it properly. So when she got angry due to a trauma reminder, she got really angry. When she was good, boy she was golden. She could be the most fun of a person you could ask for. But she wasn't a mother. She never held and comforted. She expected hugs and comfort. She was a kid, and thought with a kid brain. When we had some spare change, she'd walk me to the ice cream place and she'd buy herself an ice cream and we'd go back home. As I got older, our already weird relationship became weirder. She told me she didn't want people to know she was my mom and I could introduce her as my sister. She would tell people that she had 3 children, my siblings, and not claim me because people would do the math. She wanted to be friends with my friends. She wanted to hang around when they were there. What I know about having a teenage mom is this: I loved her with the kind of fanatical worship that messed me up for a long time. She could be funny and cruel at the same time. When she gave you attention, your world would be brighter, but when she was mad at you, the world would be dark. She never grew out of her teenage mindset. And I had to come to grips with that. I can't say that every teenage mom is like mine. But mine was rough. Edit. I don't have the words to say to express my gratitude for all who have shared similar stories or gave support. Honestly, hearing that my story isn't unique, as sucky as it is, makes me know that I'm not alone. I can't give you all a hug, though I wish I could. For all that shared, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. Edit 2. People asked how I'm doing now. I just graduated with my master's in social work last week. The long and the short of it is, years ago, I ran away from home and ended up at my best friend's house. Lots of work, and hurt, and healing later. I don't see my biomom anymore. I was adopted by my best friend's family when I was 29 though. I'll tell you, that paper may seem insignificant to people who don't understand, but for me, I stop and stare at it sometimes. My adopted mom hung the adoption certificate on the wall. It's legal proof I have a family who loves me and no one can take that away. The best thing I can say to people is, go to therapy. Find a therapist who works for you. I went to 5 before I found the one that clicked. Separate your blood relatives from the people who love you. Found family is as valid or more so than those you share blood with. Your friends can be your family. My closest friends are my sisters and brothers. And I call them that. I tell friends and family that I love them. It's hard when you're raised by people who weaponize love. But at the end of it all, love is what makes life worth it. You know? Also, forgive yourself. Forgive that sometimes when you get hurt or scared or angry, your parent will come out of your mouth. Acknowledge that you're breaking the cycle, but we were raised in a different world and everyone sounds like their parents sometimes. For those who had parents like my mom, the scariest thing could be hearing yourself echo what they said. Sometimes, I feel the desire to make someone work for my attention. And then I realize, that's my mom's influence. That's not me. So, be kind to yourself. My adopted mom says, the world treats you like you think you should be treated, and our parents raised us to think we should be treated like shit. They were wrong. We should be, and with inner reflection, hard work, therapy and our found family support, we'll see ourselves as people worthy of being loved. We are worthy. I'm worthy. You're worthy. From one stranger to another. I love you all. One of my friends has a teen mom. She doesn't talk about it too much, but she says that it's nice how all family members, great-grandparents, are still alive. I went to school with a girl who had her first child at 14. She had 2 more before graduation. At the age of 28 she became a grandmother. The child-born's great-great-great-grandmother was alive and only 82. Update. I posted and went to bed. Not expecting anyone to really see what I wrote. I certainly didn't know if wake up to all this. Thank you to everyone for the kind words and support. There were many questions asked and I'm hoping to address them here. TW for abuse issues. Am I a child of rape? It's possible. Relatives on both sides said my parents were both pretty horrendous to one another. Drugs and alcohol were involved. I am an adult, with 2 kids of my own, 18 and 19. They are amazing, empathetic young people and I am so proud. I am low contact with my mother. It is superficial at best. After spending my youth not being allowed to have emotions, I have no desire to tell her anything that actually means something to me. Being forced to hide any and all feelings is my biggest remaining issue. I still struggle to believe anyone would care how I feel. I rarely show emotions, pain, etc. But I do try to move beyond it. Every day. I know I missed out on a regular childhood. I became a teacher and greatly enjoyed being on that side of things. I loved not only educating but I also tried to be a mentor and role model to my students, aged 12 to 14. Thanks again. Original. My mother resented me. Still does actually. But it's lessened over the years. It was apparently my fault she missed her teen years. So she dropped me off at a relative's in another state when I was a toddler and hitchhiked around the country for a year. As I grew up I was screamed at and beaten for looking like my biological father. She didn't trust me a bit because of it. I had to get permission to step outside to get the mail. Couldn't bathe myself until I was a teenager. Couldn't do homework with others. I don't think it has ever occurred to her I'm not guilty of anything. But in her eyes, being my father's daughter is enough. My parents got married when they found out my mom was pregnant at 16. She had me her senior year at 17. And both still managed to work their way through college with me in tow. It was honestly pretty annoying. They liked to party a lot with their friends. Which got annoying quick, having a bunch of 30-somethings getting drunk and listening to loud music when I had to be up early. My mom enjoyed the attention of being mistaken for my sister. But it felt gross because she was the hot mom to all my guy friends growing up and I never heard the end of it. My dad wasn't really interested in doing dad things until they had my sister in their mid-20s. Found out a year ago thanks to 23andMe that my dad's not my biological father. Apparently my mom slept around a lot in high school. Found my bio dad. Which uncovered a huge conspiracy of lies and batshit insanity that honestly deserves its own post. Teenagers are fucking stupid. Edit. Since some people were asking, I went into further detail about the story below. I was born in 1964 when my mother was 16. Grandparents adopted me so I'd have a name. Father's family paid for the hospital bills and that was it because they didn't want to ruin his chances to go to VMI. Mother had 3 other kids from at least 2 other men and tried to treat me like a little sister, although a girl in 3rd grade decided it was her duty to tell me I didn't really have a daddy. 3-bedroom country farm with 4 kids. Grandparents and mother with her pedo husband was a constant fight complete with fists and screaming almost daily. At least we could go outside. Lost a brother to a gunshot when stepfather cheated on mother and left gun down while he was leaving. Other brother accidentally shot him. Mother continued to treat me like a sister until she decided she wanted to be a mother. My grandmother was the one who raised me and the one I consider my true mother. When she died, she left me the land with her house on it and my mother tricked me into signing it over to her. I was very naive. She accused my straight-edge goth Y kids, in their 30s now, of being on drugs because they wore black and has held a remark I made about moving away when I was 16 against me to this day. My father sent me $50 when I graduated and $100 when I got married the first time. And I had no idea he was even my father until I was 23. I would have liked to have had a different childhood. Edit. Y'all are some wonderful people. Thank you to those who had kind and healing words. Hugs to those in need of a little extra heart. Edit. Please do not post any more comments asking me to get in touch with them. I am not going to. Read the comments before you ask questions. My bio parents were 14 and 15 when I was born. They opted for a closed adoption but my bio mom did leave a thoughtful gift for me. My mom told me that my bio mom was very kind and through the pregnancy was always really worried about me. She made a lot of watercolor paintings with poems for me when she was pregnant and gave them to my mom. My mom had them bound in a book for me and would read them to me when I was little. Some of them talk about how she can feel me moving around and what my heartbeat sounded like. It's odd because they really look like a child did them and I can't believe how much she went through at a young age. I think this made me more compassionate towards girls than other boys were in middle school and high school. My mom was 18. So my aunt and uncle are only 10 years older than me. My uncle is 6 years. So I got to do all kind of rad stuff with my aunt and uncle like skateboarding, surfing, snowboarding. They were and are more like a brother and sister. Real dad is a boss. My mom fell in love at 20 with a 40-year-old. They are still together 38 years later. Raised me like his own. He had 5 other kids. So I had all kinds of brothers and sisters and tbh a better life than if my real dad stuck around. I met every one of my grandparents. And some of my great-grandparents too. I was primarily raised by my grandparents after age 5 because my mom couldn't handle the responsibility. And my dad wanted nothing to do with us. She neglected me. Literally played World of Warcraft and slept all hours of the day. There were times when I'd miss school because she wouldn't get up. Or I would have to eat uncooked frozen waffles because I was so hungry. I had to grow up really quickly because of that. When my grandparents moved us in it was better. But she always acted more like a sibling. When she lived with us she would argue with me and steal my things and go on and on about how everyone thinks she's my sister and not my mom. She tried to squeeze some more youth into her life when I was young. Always partying and drinking and coming home fucked up. She constantly brought me around her trash boyfriends. Including a stalker, a man who is now a white supremacist, and a man who got convicted of sexually assaulting his ex-stepdaughter who was the same age as me during their relationship. By the time I was 10 I was already significantly more mature than her. She resents me for that. As well as my intelligence and academic success and the fact that I'm happy when she never got to be. Despite her best efforts to fuck me up psychologically. I get to live my life and she never did. She started doing drugs at some point in there. Not sure when. But she stopped and got her life together when she got pregnant with my little brother. Didn't last long. She's in rehab now and my little brother is a victim to the same circumstances that I was. She hasn't grown at all. Having me at a young age must have stunted her growth or something. Because she's the most immature person I know. She tried to make it all up to me when I was 18 by taking me on a trip to Europe. But she ended up losing my passport. And then left without me while I had to figure out how to return to the US all by myself. Goes to show how little changed. My whole childhood I felt like an outsider because of her. I'm from a middle-class suburb with more nuclear families than not. So everyone treated me like some alien. That Or they'd look at me like I was a heartless bitch if I said I don't celebrate Mother's Day or if I couldn't remember her birthday. I could sense the caution people used around me. Like I was covered in cracks and would shatter instantly if someone even looked at me funny. That definitely affected the way I treated myself for a while. In actuality, though, I was mostly fine. I was insecure and struggled with some abandonment sensitivity. But aside from that, I was pretty happy. My grandparents are amazing people. And they always did the best they could to encourage and support me when I was young. I never felt unloved or unwanted. Just frustrated I had no chance at a normal life. I never realized how little those things matter once you get past high school, though. How unimportant normalcy is. I realize now I'm better off having gone through all that at a young age. I have a good head on my shoulders because, starting from a young age, I had to be mature enough for both my mom and myself. I struggle with anxiety, but it's mostly internal. Nothing outside of that ever really phases me. As soon as I got to college, I rejected my past and became extremely independent. And I've come to realize that doing things on my own is where I thrive. I know I will never be like her. And I know my success will only spite her more. And that serves to motivate me. I love who I am now. And I know I wouldn't be this way if she hadn't fumbled so hard. Sorry, this turned into more of a rant than an answer. With my mom in rehab right now, leaving my little brother to fend for himself like she did to me. I guess I was waiting for an opportunity like this to talk some shit. Edit. Wow. Thank you all for the love, support, and shared experiences. I have honestly never received this level of compassion from so many people at once and was shocked to see how many people weighed in and responded to me. I am so eternally grateful for all your kind words and encouragement. My intention was to just get some shit off my chest. And although it's really sad to see how many people relate to what I've gone through, it also feels so good to finally know I'm not alone after having spent so much time feeling isolated and alienated by my experiences. You are all so brave. Not only for going through what you have, but also for having the courage to share it. I am truly thankful for all of you. Please don't hesitate to message me if any of you would like to talk. I know how hard it is learning to care for yourself the way you should have been cared for. Having someone to talk to can make all the difference. If you feel like sharing privately or would like any of the resources that have helped me, my PMs are wide open. Lastly, if you were neglected or dealt with addiction in your family, please check out ACA and see if there's a group you can go to. It's this amazing group therapy program. It's just like AA. So it's free, for children of addicts. It's helped me so much. Even just read the ACA laundry list if you have the time. All it is a short list of traits pertaining to children of addicts. But it's so eye-opening. My teen mom, less money, less patience, dated more men, has been divorced several times. My SO's teen mom, lots of money, lots of patience, dated 2 men, only divorced once. I think it is more the person than the age that makes a difference. Edit. The reason my mill had more money is because she had a good personality and was able to get good jobs. She was able to advance her career, was financially responsible with spending, worked very hard to get her college degree. And this was 40+ years ago, so the cost of living and wage were more comparable. The reason my mother didn't have more money, she is hard to get along with and struggled to get a good job. When she did get a good job, she was not financially responsible. The divorces caused her to lose all of her gained sums because she chose to walk away rather than split assets. My mother also got a college degree and still struggles with jobs because she argues so much. Lastly, none of them were strippers, escorts. They are very close in age. Both had no parental support, my mill having moved to the US away from the Philippines and my mother was kicked out. Thank you and good night. I was a teen mom. I asked my 16-year-old what differences he saw from himself and friends, and his response was not much difference other than we are more likely to like the same music. I've noticed that I didn't have the same opportunities as other kids because being a teen mom can lead you down a road of struggle and poverty if you don't have help from family. I've always wanted to play sports, but she could never afford the equipment needed at school to be a part of it. Mentally, I've had to mature faster at a young age because she was still a kid herself. It's unnerving to think teachers would tell me I seemed older than my age at 10 years old. My mom is 15 years older than me and has banged 7 of my friends throughout my life. 4 when I was still in high school. Other than that, I think I became mature than her when I was 12. I took care of my 3 siblings. Did the cooking, cleaning, got them to school. Hell, I started working 40 hours per week at 14 so my siblings could have some sort of a normal childhood, get clothes, school supplies. I even took them go-karting on each of their birthdays. Those are some of my favorite memories. Overall, I think that my childhood sucked. I never got to be a kid. I don't think anyone should have kids before they are mature enough to handle one. And teen moms should have a lot of oversight by CPS. Edit. Giving more context. This was in a small town in the 80s. My siblings and I are doing pretty well nowadays. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like. If you would like to see more content like this in the future, subscribe and turn on notifications to be notified about future videos. Now check out one of these interesting videos.